Well, I can't believe I fumbled 3 of my lists. So, I think the placements were pretty much screwed over by the fact that I put 7th anime Ichigo a bit too high. Heart, definitely I fumbled with how I placed the 1000-year blower Ichigo. I thought Rengoku was going to do a lot more damage. And then with power, I think I underestimated Rukia for when it came to Guild Quest. Keep in mind, I never owned her, so never really got the chance to showcase her or anything of that kind of sort. Was always biased towards how her performance was because of that damn SA2, and I got proven wrong, and I do apologize about that. But here we are today. We're going to be doing a top 10, and this is going to be the last list of top 10s that I'll be doing, and the next one won't be touched until 9th anniversary, if not sometime later. But if you guys do want to see the 3 lists fixed, let me know in the comment section below. With that being said, please play my intro. Thank you very much. Alright guys, we are back, and through every trial and error, it is time for the final factual top 10 list, and this time it's going to be covering the overall top 10 best units in the game. After every trial and error, hopefully this one will be the one where most people are going to agree, even though there will still be some criticism behind it. Let's just say we tried our best. But anywho, let's just see what we can do. That being said, this time around, because the list is kind of crazy, I had to put 5 honorable mentions than the usual 3. So with that being said, let's just get them over and done with. Ulquiorra and Yamamoto, both characters pretty much do similar things, such as having pretty good kits, 80% SP boost, bombardment. They do need to be 5 out of 5 to be the most optimal in Guild Quest, but they can still pretty much cook. They can still get like around 40 seconds remaining and can still get the job done, just that both of them lack increased status omen chance as a whole. And then next, Safui Toshiro. Safui Toshiro hits harder than both Ulquiorra and Yamamoto in base. That being said, still lacks increased status omen chance, and is also a gauge character. He doesn't have the star gauge like Bruno, Nini, etc. But at least once he activates it, he will be able to get his cooldowns back, and in base, he's just still going to be ridiculously strong with the gauge effect of having Berserker 100%. And pretty much has a similar kit to Yamamoto and Ulquiorra, just no 960 into Homing Vortex, but you know, at least gets most of the job done at the end of the day. Next, as an honorable mention, is going to be 8th anniversary Ichigo. Yeah, I pretty much had to dethrone him, although initially I did want to put him on the list, but then I pretty much realized this cannot really be the case with all these different types of characters with how they work. And this guy can still be good in Guild Quests, just that the DPS needed to be a bit more than just Frenzy +3 and full stamina 20%. Has a really strong 750 into Homing Vortex, still full screen. SA1 is pretty much the only thing that pretty much sucks about this character, but he's still really good. So yeah, you guys can still argue for him to be top 10, but in this case, I couldn't really rank him up in the top 10s. But then I kind of lied, but rather than have 5 honorable mentions, it's 6. So we have Asnot and Nini. Asnot in base, he's just ridiculously good. Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost. Once you get the status element procced in, you do 40% more damage to slowed and weakened enemies with multi-barrier. And his SA1 is just ridiculously strong. He has the 40% shave where he can pretty much do most of the work, but his SA2 holds him back severely, and that's why he just doesn't make the list. And yeah, in the end, I have to say that he's better than 7th anniversary Ichigo. Once we re-update the mind list, I'm definitely gonna rank him higher, and yeah, that's where I pretty much fumbled. And then Nini, she's good with the gauge mechanic at the end of the day, but in base, she's just a fraud. Has the star gauge, etc. Good kit, 750 suction vortex, 960 full screen, just a good character. But yeah, that's basically the honorable mention. Now let us truly begin the top 10 list of characters. First up is going to be Parasol Bruno. Now this character has actually aged better over time, and with the fact that he has, you know, complete status immunity with Frenzy +2 star gauge of 70%, and once you activate the gauge, you gain an additional 50% SP boost. The cooldown reduction will be activated, meaning that you'll get your strong attacks back faster, and just does a crap ton of damage, and basically has Frenzy +2 with 40% Berserker, 100% Berserker once you activate the gauge, and is able to do so much more damage. He's basically better than Halloween Ninny as a whole, even though he doesn't have the gauge rampage skill to pretty much help him out. Double killers of Hollow and a Spada killer, you can definitely make solid use out of that, and just has a lot more value where that comes from. Suction Vortex on the SA1, SA2 being the 960 in front, 1200 radius, SA3 fitting of the top 10 spot as a whole. So yeah, up next is gonna be Quincy Ichigo, and he's definitely a lot stronger than Bruno without the gauge. However, I do find that this character isn't too exceptionally amazing for guild quests, but we're still going to keep him up here because for Limit Breaker quests, he is just a godsend, and the entire list of top 10 characters, they pretty much vary in terms of the game mode you decide to bring them in. So anywho, this is still one of the very first characters with Frenzy +2 and 80% SP boost, and has Berserker 40, increased status element chance against speed attribute enemies, character strong attack damage of 20%, has the built-in cooldowns when moving in between maps. In Limit Breaker quests, it's such a strong skill because by the time you get to the next stage with Quincy Ichigo, you'll already have all of your strong attacks back, which is just insanely OP. It's marvelous. Double kills of Hollow and Human, and he also has an additional full stand 20 with Havoc of 20% sprint +2. The only throwaway is the SA1 18% shave, and then the SA2 is going to be, you know, 3K length beam and full screen SA3. So yeah, still a really strong, ridiculous character, and I think he fits well at number 9. At number 8, Parasol Rukia. A lot of people told me I was downplaying this character, and you guys were right. I do apologize. I do apologize about this. She's better than Yamamoto for Guild Quest. I didn't even realize that she could do so much damage, but I still find it stupid how her design is bad for Guild Quest. And in Limit Breaker Quest, she can still work just fine because of the stuff that she has. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I still don't like this character, but y'all pretty much made me think about it, and I pretty much had to place her higher on the list. So yeah, at number 8 is a good spot because she has Frenzy +2, full stamina damage boost of 20%, damage to frozen enemies of +40%, increased status element chance, 80% SP boost, and has the rampage skill. So kill 50 enemies, you do 100% more damage with Sharpshooter. So yeah, freeze immunity, sprint +1, and medic, suction vortex, 960 AoE in front, and the SA3 is full screen. Still a really strong character, but the SA2, you're only going to be doing 1 damage, but once you have built up the rampage, and with how ridiculously easy it is to get the 80% SP boost with this character, I think she's definitely deserving. She's definitely hitting harder than the characters that we have on the list so far, but she's definitely going to be on the slower side for when it comes to general content, but in damage, she's definitely better than Quincy Ichigo and Bruno as a whole. But for Limit Breaker Quest and Guild Quest, she is definitely on the slower side, if I do say so myself. White, I do think that this guy is going to be consistent as a character to use, despite the kit being what it is, but like, considering the fact that you're going to be inflicting status elements non-stop, you'll always have the 40% damage to drained enemies and the 60% damage to lacerated enemies. But besides that, Frenzy +2, Havoc of 20%, increased status element chance against art attribute enemies, 80% SP boost, weakened defense, and then you have bombardment, like, and the character special move damage of 30%. But yeah, the only wasted skill here is mine attribute character movement speed of 30%. So yeah, he's able to inflict status elements non-stop. Also has double killers of Soul Reaper and No Affiliation. Is immune to all status elements, Marauder, Sprint +3, and then Suction Vortex into a lunge on SA1. 870 into 1080 full screen lunge, and then the SA3 is going to be the vacuum into explosion kind of attack. Still ridiculously good. I don't consider him to be number 1 anymore because of the hard reset meta because of guild quests and limit breaker quests, but he's still insanely good. Insane. Ichibei, this character is just ridiculous, and again, this is another character that I didn't like, but I had to pretty much think it through and place him this high on the list above Quincy Ichigo, above Parasol Rukia, and it's due to the fact that he has a much faster kit, double killers, and Marauder, and he just is able to cleave through content a bit quicker, such as having Frenzy +1, Berserker 50 and base, but like keep in mind you're going to be able to keep the gauge up most of the times because he has the extra cooldown reduction and the gauge rampage skill. So there's that. Also has the 70% star gauge like Bruno, and he also has a really broken soul bomb of bombardment and weaken defense. Once you activate the gauge, you pretty much get the same stuff as Nini, but better because you do have the strong attack recharge 30% when activating the gauge, so that's pretty much going to help out a lot with the gauge rampage skill. Frenzy +1 Berserker 100% once you activate it. Also has long stride, paralysis immunity, and sprint +1. Kit is also really good. Suction vortex on the SA1, 3k length beam SA2, and SA3 being full screen. So yeah, I think this is pretty much an appropriate placement for this character right here, and it's just overall going to be better in guild quests and limit breaker quests to use as a whole. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. At number 5, I have to give it to Macy. She definitely gained a lot more value over time, and this character is just capable of hitting harder than White because of the kit that she has. Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost, Berserker 40%, and also gains an additional damage to paralyzed enemies of 40% and weakened enemies of 40% just by the 960 and Homing Vortex. It's just that damn strong, and then also has the same stuff as Parasol Rukia, having the speed attribute strong attack recharge 20% skill, meaning that this character, once you move in between the quest areas, you'll get all of your strong attacks back, just like Quincy Ichigo, but again, is a lot better because the kit is much better, and she has better multipliers than her. So yeah, also double killers. So there's that. Every single character on the list has double killers. So, oh yeah, except Rukia, but like, pretty much my point. Oh, and there's also another character above her that doesn't have double killers, but going back into it, also really good soul bomb with weakened defense, devastation of 40%, not 60, but still good enough. The double status summons are good. Innate abilities, Havoc at 20%, Sharpshooter, Sprinter +1. Again, only drawback is the 18% shave, but then you have the beautiful SA2 covering Macy, and then the SA3 being full screen. So yeah, exceptionally amazing as a character to use. Like, there's just no complaints about her, really. I just wish I had her, which is unfortunate. It is what it is. At number 4, I have to give it to Kilgay. Kilgay is just OP. He's just downright broken. He does what every character in the list does, but like on a whole different scale. It's just ridiculous. Funny enough, is he the only character on the list that doesn't have Marauder? Oh god, he is the only character on the list that doesn't have Marauder. And also the second character to not have a double killer on the list, which is actually insane, but what he covers is just stupid. Like, he has the heart attribute strong attack recharge of 20% just like Macy, and it's broken. Full stamina damage boost of 20%, damage to drain enemies of plus 40% as well. Devastation 40%, frenzy +2, havoc of 20%, poise, rampage skill, kill 50 enemies, and you get 100% damage. Just like this Rukia, hold on, yeah, just like her, but is going to be a lot faster and stronger than her. Only difference is that Kilgay doesn't have increased status element chance, but realistically speaking, he doesn't need it because he has the God Kit, and that matters the most. And he also has 80% SP boost. In abilities, what about that? Oh yeah, freeze immunity, guard break, and spur +1. 3k length beam, 960 into homing vortex, and then the SA3 is full screen. Godsend of a unit. Godsend of a unit. And I'm glad that was proven wrong when I saw this character upon release. Like, he is just that damn broken. Kilgay is OP, and this character will also support one of the top 2 characters that we have on the list. So let's just keep that in mind about that. And then up next, we have Retsu. Now, Retsu does not have the same recharge and OP kit like Kilgay, but it's just going to be a lot stronger because of the fact that she can inflict weakening on her entire kit. And she also has the trap mechanic to pretty much be able to inflict weakening at all times. And honestly speaking, if you want to account the support units that she has, like Akon and Shinji, you guys can put her up at number 1. But I'm not going to keep that into account. This is just going to be what the characters can do in base, because if we really want to consider the extra stuff, I would really put Killgate up above the top 2 spots, and then I would have to put Retsu at like number 1, but I'm not going to do that, so yeah. Anywho, what she has is ridiculous. First ever summonable character to have double soul trait of strong attack damage 20, strong attack recharge, complete status immunity, full stamina damage boost of 20%, frenzy +2, long stride, marauder, poise, rampage skill, like always again, and then the 80% SP boost. So yeah, pretty much the same skill set as Killgate, but way more broken. Just that she doesn't have the extra cooldown reductions when moving in between maps. If you want to have that, you pretty much need to have Macy. I kind of wish I had her, but it is what it is. I digress. Extra cooldown reductions though, so there's that when at full stam, so like you're gonna be able to get your SA1 and SA2 a lot faster, and it's gonna help complement the fact that her SA3 is a 17 to 18 second cooldown. With this, it'll become like around 15 seconds, 14 seconds, around that time. But the SA1 and SA2 is gonna come back faster too as well. Also has 20% stamina recovery, sprinter +2. Considering this character also has long stride, she's a speedy girl. And then you look at the kit, 3k length beam with 1020, 870 lunge, and then she has a beautiful 1170 into trap. With this, you're gonna be able to get out the weakening quite fast. Yeah, Murder Mom is ridiculous. She's just ridiculous. She's OP. She's insane. She's just able to do a crap ton of stuff easily. Alright, now for the next 2 characters, I have to tie them, but this will all come down to personal preference at the end of the day. And this is how I feel, but if I were to give my own personal preference, one of the characters I prefer is number 1. Number 2, Yuha. Number 1, Ichigo. Although for me, I personally like Yuha more and have to put him at number 1 and Ichigo number 2, but it will all come down to personal preference and how you use the characters. But let's just begin, and starting off with Yuha. This character is ridiculous, has a crazy set of skills, and has what I would like to call a mini rampage. You kill a certain amount of enemies, you gain additional skills. But before we get into that, look at what he has. Strong attack recharge time of -14%, hollow and no affiliation killer, mind attribute strong attack recharge of 20%, so the same skill as Killgate, and who else? Macy, Quincy Ichigo, where is he? Yeah, right here, Quincy Ichigo in Rukia. He has literally the exact same skill. Once you move in between quest areas for Limit Breaker quest, you'll have all of your strong attacks available to you. Berserker 40, complete status immunity, Debilitator, Devastation 60, Frenzy +2, Havoc of 20%, Poise, 80% SP boost, and Weaken defense. And to top it all off, he even has Long Stride, Marauder, and Sprint +2, and he's by far one of the faster characters that we have in the game. And let me just go ahead and discuss this mini rampage of his that he has. If you defeat 20 enemies, you'll gain 20% melee damage, which is going to account all of your attacks, except the Soul Bomb. But yeah, kill 40 enemies, you gain 40% more Berserker, which is multiplicative, okay? It's stupid, it's insane. And then kill 60, you gain an extra 60% Devastation, 80 enemies, you just get a free Soul Bomb. Yeah, in longer content, such as Limit Breaker Quest, Inheritance Trials, you'll have 2 Soul Bombs at your disposal to use, which is just crap. And let me just give you guys a mini spoiler, okay? For my upcoming comparison between Yuha and White in Inheritance Trials, I managed to clear with 54 seconds. Not a minute, 54 seconds. That's just downright OP. Just, what? How is that even possible? It's just so stupid, man. It's just ridiculous. And the kits that he has, well, he has a Suction Vortex, which is kind of on the slow side for Yuha, but you're going to be using that as your last strong attack because you're going to be mainly spamming the SA2 and the SA3. SA2 is a beautiful 960 into Homing Vortex, and then the SA3 is a full screen 1200 radius SA3. Oh yeah. Basically, the way of how you're going to be using this character is SA2, SA3, SA1 repeat, SA2, SA3, SA1. And that's how you're going to be able to clear quite fast with Yuha. And the fact that he too has weakening on his entire kit, and once you get all of the extra benefits from the defeated enemy bonus, this character is just so cracked. He just shreds through like as if it's nothing. Like, I was doing better with him compared to Killgate and Ichigo in Limit Breaker Quest because of the kit that he has, which is ridiculous. Whereas Ichigo, I need to inflict status elements non-stop, but like, this character was just ridiculous broken. I cleared 39 stages using him, Ichigo, and Killgate, and both of them were like 2-5 and above. So let me just say that, okay? I'm quite skilled in Limit Breaker Quest, and it's just stupid. It's ridiculous. And in my opinion, yes, I find this character to be stronger than Killgate and Unohana as a whole, even more so. And just because of the fact that he has the 916 homing vortex, has the extra stuff, it's stupid, man. It's stupid. He doesn't have the innate 100% rampage skill, but like, just being able to have an extra soul bomb at your disposal and being able to do everything, it's stupid, man. It's ridiculous. And even in Guild Quest, I did update my score and I cleared with 45 seconds remaining. I only have him 3-5, not even max transcended. Actually, on my entire melee no affiliation team, nobody is max transcended. I just used a 1-5 hard Kisuke, and I believe it was like a 4-5 thousand year blower Byakuya. Again, nobody was max transcended. So yeah, there's that. For me, he's number 1, but here I pretty much claimed him as a number 2, but it all varies from person to person. And then up next is going to be Ichigo. Ichigo is very situational, but he's ridiculous. When you're up against either Soul Reapers or Quincy's, he is able to out-damage everyone from the list. Yuha, Retsu, Killgate, every single one of these characters on the list. It doesn't even freaking matter. He is able to do all of that. It doesn't matter because you basically have yourself rampage consistently at 100% of the time, because Frenzy +2, Berserker 20% from the Soul Trait. He's also the second summonable character to get the same stuff as Unohana, so yeah, there's that. Also has Bombardment, which means that his Soul Bomb is going to be ridiculously good. Complete status immunity, damage to last rated enemies of 60%, and damage to weakened enemies of +40%. This is what White has, which is what made him stupidly broken, yet he is just like on another level because he has a much more perfected kit, also has Long Stride, and has one of the more broken SA3s that we have in the game. But anywho, the Bull Terror of +5 seconds, Frenzy +2, Havoc of 20%, hit an enemy chance 100%, has this, like I mentioned before, increased status summon chance against Soul Reapers and Quincy's. That being said, if you're not facing Soul Reapers and Quincy's, you will notice it quite a lot in IT. Let me just say that. But when I got to using him in Limit Breaker Quest, he was like a whole other story, man. Also has Marauder and 80% SP boost. Oh, and in abilities, Long Stride, Poise, and Sprinter +2. Oh yeah. The only negatives I have to give to Ichigo and Yuha is that they don't have a way to get their stamina back. So let's say you do get hit in IT, you have to die and revive if you don't have a character with stamina recovery. In Limit Breaker Quest, on the other hand, unless you have a character with stamina recovery, yeah, you're just basically screwed. That's the best way I can pretty much explain it. And then the kit, let's just go over the meat and potatoes of this character. The SA3. The SA3 is a new 2-stage charged attack. When you fully charge it, well, you just do so much damage. This is what allowed me to clear faster with him than my max transcended Yamamoto for melee Quincy Stern Ritter. I cleared with him in like 43 or 44 seconds remaining. I don't remember, whereas with Yama, when I used him, keep in mind, I didn't even have the optimal side units. I think I cleared him like around 30 seconds remaining, 32, I don't even remember. It's been such a long time since then. The first 2 initial phases, 1170 in front. Beautiful. Like, you just aim it, there you go. The mags are quite high, although it's a bit unrealistic for the first phase. Then when you charge it, but don't fully charge it, you get an 18% magnification, which is still strong, but when you fully charge it, 200%, and it becomes a 1200 radius full screen all around him. It's stupid because this was literally the main kicker in Limit Breaker Quest. When I got to the harder mobs that were difficult to kill, this SA3, if I got all the status elements procced in, it would one-shot. I had it happen, it would one-shot, and if not one-shot, get the enemies close to the brink of death when I got to like stage 6 on Limit Breaker Quest with him. And the SA3 is just stupid, it's ridiculous. This is what literally allows this Ichigo to outdamage every single one of the characters on the list. Just that again, it's situational and you do need to have status elements procced in. But besides that, the rest of the kit is good. It's fantastic. 3k length beam with 1020, although the mags are different. It's a two-phase type of strong attack, 60% into 60% compared to the typical 120%. And then SA2 is a new type of lunge. He has a 960 into 1020 radius, which in my opinion, I do find it better than Unohana's standard 870 radius, which is still good. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, but like this covers a lot more range in the initial phase, and then the last phase it becomes full screen. That being said, it is different compared to White's, because White's SA2 is an 870 into 1080, so the only difference is that on the initial phase, Ichigo has more range, but on the final phase, he basically has 60 plus more radius than Ichigo. And it's quite noticeable, but it's still really good nonetheless. So, yeah. You guys can argue for this Ichigo to be number 2. You can argue for this Ichigo to be number 1. But again, if I were to specify my complete and honest opinion, number 1 Yuha, number 2 Ichigo, number 3 Yachiru Unohana, and number 4 Kilgate for me. But in terms of overall DPS, strength, and trying to factor in a lot of different game modes, I think that these are like the top 4 characters right here. And these 3 characters in specific is what I would like to call the 1000-Year Blower Holy Trinity. Anywho, I would just want to say thank you guys for watching. And after this, I think I want to do a top 10 list of my personal favorite characters where nobody's, criticism matters and only your opinion matters the most. And you just show the audience what you like to play as the most, and the audience shares what they like to play as the most. So if you guys want that, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos. This has been your boy, the Dash Smasher, and I hope to see you guys all in the next one. So have a pleasant day, lads. Peace out. Bye. Sayonara. Ciao, ciao.